I start? Stand-up comedian. Got to the game because I love watching all my other greats that I watched growing up. Talk about Richard Pryor. He talk about Sinbad. He talk about Red Fox. He talk about all the greats that came before me that I enjoy watching. Never thought I was going to become a comedian. I never did. I thought football was my dream, but I think God had other plans for me to do stand-up comedy. And it all happened when I got hurt in 2004. Was playing amateur football. And I always wanted to try stand-up comedy, but never had the knack to do it. Never knew where to start until I met somebody off of, at the time, MySpace was the actual thing back then before Facebook and Instagram. So I had a MySpace account. So I met somebody by the name of Rebecca. She was a manager of another comedian here in Baltimore. So she gave me some info. She linked me up with another comedian by the name of Howard G. And Ricky Shackelford that did shows out in Glen Burnie, Maryland at the good old-fashioned Holiday Inn. I tell you, it was some rough times. And did I not know you had to sell tickets just to get on stage? So we had to sell tickets just to get on stage to get 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes can fly by real quick. And so I had to sit there and think, like, what the heck can I talk about in 5 minutes? So, and my other comedian friends was telling me that this was a way of paying dues before you move up in the ranks as a stand-up comic. So I gave it a shot. I was injured. I was out for a while playing football. So I said, well, I want to do something else. And like I said, I took the leap, got on stage, and started doing what I needed to do, become a stand-up comedian. It was rough at first. Wanted to quit the first night I did it. Didn't get the laughs I intended, but I stuck with it. I mean, it was hard, it was rough. And man, we was in front of some ghetto crowds down there in Glen Burnie. Man, I'm talking about ghetto. They put the G in ghetto. And I just, kept going back every month because they did shows once a month. And I just went on from there, and I just got better and better as the years went on. And I never quit. I just kept going. So during that time of me getting the process of being a stand-up comic, I just was learning the business. I was going to the comedy clubs, and I was looking at all the headliners and the other people that performed on the shows, and I was just studying. I was the only one, at the time, I think I was the only comedian that did that. I'm not sure, I can't speak for everybody else, but I can only speak for myself. But that's what I did in order to get great. So I went every weekend down to Baltimore Comedy Factory, went every weekend, watch everybody, just to get advice from some of the stars that came in there. I would just talk to them and get their knowledge of being a stand-up comedy or stand-up comedians, pardon me. But I just did everything I could do in order to get better. And like I said, starting out in Glen Burnie at the Holiday Inn, it really took me to another level, because people can be cruel. People can be cruel if you don't make them laugh, man. And the bad thing about it is, if you do not laugh at a comedian's joke, that's the worst thing you can do. Because if I hear crickets, I'm going to get real nervous. And I'm telling you, I've had plenty of nights when I've done that. So, just trying to be great, not being to the point where I was going to stop later on. No, I'm in this for the long haul. I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So I gave up football, and well, let me tell you about the story about the football thing. I was playing football, semi-pro. I was playing for a long time, and like I said, I got injured in 2004, and I stopped, and I stopped in 2009 was my last game with one team. I was playing fall and spring. So I'm playing football all year round. I'm working 2 jobs. I'm just playing football too on the weekends. And for you people that don't know what semi-pro football is, it's just pretty much guys that's still living their dream. We still work, but we still play. We have practice on Tuesday and Thursday nights, and we played our games on Saturday night. So that's how we did that in order to. And you could get picked up by an NFL team. If he was that good, you could get picked up by an NFL team or an arena team. But back then we had so many options. I don't know what the options is nowadays, but back then we had a lot of options that we can play pro sports. So, you know, like I said, I played from 1997 to 2009, and I officially hung up, you know, my cleats and turned it in for a microphone. And after that, I just went on from there, and then everything else just fell into place. So, like I said, I studied everybody. I was watching videos of Bernie Mac and Sinbad, and I was watching Def Comedy Jam every Friday night on HBO. I was doing that every time. If it was a comedy show, I was watching it. BET's Comic View. It was so many shows that had stand-up comedy on it, and it was like I was just watching it every time. But, you know, things happen, and my life did take a change later on in the years, and we'll get to that. But for right now, I'm telling you why I'm a stand-up comic. I love making people laugh. I love having fun. I like to take people out of their misery for 5 or 10 minutes, maybe 2 hours or whatever. But I want you to go home happy with the thought that, hey, at least I made you smile. You paid your $25, $20, $30, whatever you paid to see me. And the only thing I wish is I give you your money's worth and you come back and see me again. That's how I always thought. And as Bernie Mac said, you always leave a lasting impression on those who came to see you. You always want to do that. So I always took that. I'm going to give it my all on stage and hope everybody like it. Now, everybody not going to like you. But I ain't here for just one person. I'm here for everybody. So, you like me or you don't like me. It is what it is. It comes with the territory. I'm not going to be everybody's favorite comedian. I'm not going to kiss a whole bunch of butt to be your favorite comedian. But I want you to laugh at me anyway. But I was joking about the kiss my butt thing. So, y'all just roll with me. Like I said, I started doing stand-up comedy, and then just kept going there. And then, like, if I got my first break opening up for Michael Blackson, I knew Mike before, you know, for a long time, and we was working at the Comedy Factory. So every time he came into town, Mike would always hit me up on MySpace. Yeah, we're old, MySpace. And he would let me know he was in town. He would tell me to come down to the shows and come and get some stage time, and I did. And I had did the show that we was on down in Glen Burnie. I had did so good, like the promoter told me that he wished he had me on the show and I had to pay the other guy, which I thought that was kind of funny, but it was like wrong at the same time. But I thought it was funny. But I didn't get paid for the show, but I was there. So then I got another opportunity open up for Mike down in Washington D.C. in Club H2O. I don't know if H2O is still there anymore, but it was one of the top nightclubs in D.C. at one point. So I was doing a show with Queen Aisha was like the host, and she and then Mike got me on the show. So it was like the biggest crowd I've ever done as far as being in stand-up comedy for like maybe 2 or 3, well maybe I think I'll say it was 2 years that I was in stand-up comedy. So I was nervous. A lot of people in there, everybody talking, and I felt as though they not here to see me. They here to see Mike. They not here to see me. So I just made the best of it. Only did 5 minutes or whatever, and then talked to Mike after that. And then after that, it just went on. So the more and more I kept getting on stage, the better and better I got. So I just had to stick with it. Getting sick and tired of Facebook. Anybody got Facebook? Facebook? White people, Facebook? Yeah. I don't know, man. Facebook is getting on my nerves to the point, like, they got too much shit on Facebook. That Farmville shit, that reminds me too much of slavery. You know, it's weird. Everybody want to plant your crops and shit. It's like crazy. Everybody want to give you, like, birthday cakes and all this old dumb shit. Like, because I'm like, only thing I hate about the ladies, y'all do some stupid shit on Facebook. Y'all do, like, little dumb shit, like put celebrity pictures on your profile because you say you look like that person. I had just met this one girl. She had put Beyonce on her fucking profile. I went to go see this bitch. She looked like Jay-Z. I said, what the fuck is Hov doing in West Baltimore? That's just dumb shit, man. If you're going to be yourself, be yourself. You know what I mean? That's just dumb. Right? Right, Jared? Right, Jared? So, what makes a good joke? A good joke you need some reaction when you say that joke. For you people that don't know, a joke is a setup and a punchline. In order for you to have a great joke, the setup has to be on point and the punchline has to be the one that kills them. My whole process of that, I have to come up with telling the truth a little bit, but a little twist to it. I gotta make it believable but unbelievable at the same time. So I gotta think in my process. They think comedians we all, and what I say and what I come across is that we all gotta have a third eye. You gotta have a great imagination in order to bring that joke to life. If you don't have a great imagination, you will never get it. I mean, you can work on the joke for a long time, and that's why we go to open mics and we practice. And what open mics are like boot camps for comedians. Because we're around about a whole bunch of comedians, maybe a little bit of people sitting inside, watching the joke. So you got a bunch of comedians around that's pretty much trying out new material. I mean, you really don't do your old material. You try out the new material to see if the material works. So if it works, then you check it off. You can go up there with your notebook, your little pencil in your ear, and you can check it off. It worked. So, or you got to come up with the process what you got to think about what happened with the joke. You got to think. You got to think about what happened. It's pretty much you telling a story, like I said, with a twist to it. So my whole thought process is just I just come up with a lot of things out because I'm gonna tell you, I have a great mental. It took me a while to develop this, but my mind is screwy. My mind is real screwy. So it's I come up with stuff to make you guys think that's what I want. That's what I want you to do. I want y'all to get in that thinking process and before you start laughing. So you be like, okay, you hear the setup, you hear the punchline, and at that point you should be almost dead and laughing because most of y'all can relate to half of the stuff I talk about. So if you can relate to it, that's when you know you got them. You know you got the joke. They get the joke, you got the joke, you put it out there, you worked on it, they laugh, that's a winner. So I'm not going to say every joke is going to be funny. Some jokes are going to be controversial, I don't care, but it's all about what's funny to me, and I hope you ask to it. Because I be at shows, and I say, hey, funny to me, I liked it. It don't matter. So you guys, some of y'all gotta lighten up. Stop coming to comedy shows when you break up with your baby mothers or you get in an argument with your wife or your husband and come in there and you gotta sit in the crowd and I gotta sit there and watch your little mean ass sitting in the daggone in the audience all mad. It's alright, you paid your $25, sit there and pout. I'm gonna mess with you. Make it even worse for the drive home. So that's what I'm gonna do. So that's what it's all about, making people have a good laugh, and you gotta have, like I say, you gotta have a good imagination. Because if you don't, it ain't gonna get nowhere. You gotta be able to, clean up the lie a little bit, but you gotta make it funny at the same time. So you gotta do it. You got to.
Fellas, we had to match our shoes with the shirt and everything. We had to look good. Had to get the haircut. Ladies got helicopter hairdos and all that shit. And was I had one of them mothers, man, she used to improvise that name brand stuff you ain't never heard of.
So people always ask me, what's the crossing line of a comedian telling a joke? What do we have barriers against? And I'm gonna tell you straight up, we have no boundaries. We have none. If you watch all the late greats like George Carlin and Red Fox, they didn't care. We don't care, but we do know that we're not going to publicly humiliate somebody in front of the whole crowd because we know that can lead to certain things. But only reason that gets people to laughing is because of the simple fact that they can relate to the joke. Now, some other person might sit there and most of the time I deal with people that are mostly drunk anyway. By the time, they get to a comedy show, they're drunk. They're not really thinking about the humiliation. They laugh and they don't think about it till the next day till their friend tell them, hey, that comedian got on you. But comedians, we don't have boundaries. And I tell you, Corey Holcomb has no boundaries. There's a lot of them that don't have any boundaries. But we know our limits as far as we don't have it, we won't take it to the point that we're really humiliating somebody. We don't do that. But we will have fun at our own expense on your own cost. We will have fun. So if you walk across stage, let me tell you, if you walk across stage and you look a certain way, you got on something real crazy, we gonna mess with you. We gonna mess with you. Comedians have no boundaries. We're like agitators. And we use it in like elementary school. You always had that one kid that agitated you to this point that you swung on him, or you just wanted to beat the hell out of him. We're like that. We're like agitators. But everybody in that comedy club know that it's all in fun and it's not should be taken seriously. But some people do. We have incidents where people ran up on stage and got comedians' face. Some of them paid the price. Some of them got knocked out. But everybody in that comedy club should know that we're not doing that to humiliate you. We're there to have fun. Afterwards, we tell you, if you didn't like it, fuck them. That's what we say. But we do just want to have fun, man. And nobody should take those jokes like seriously, because they just all in fun. I don't know you. I don't know you sitting there. I don't know none of y'all that's sitting in the audience. I don't know none of y'all. But I'm going to have fun, and I want you to have fun. Keep an open mind when you come to a comedy club. Because that's all we're doing is just having fun. We're having fun with you and all the other people that's in that room. So don't take it so hard. Lighten up. See, people have this misconception that all comedians are bullies. We're not bullies. We're not. I can go to the point in my life when I was coming up, when I was growing up, that I got picked on a lot. And I was picked on mostly because of my weight. That was the only thing they really could talk about, was me being a big kid when I was younger. And a lot of my thing with telling jokes on stage, I don't do it just to humiliate somebody. I don't. I actually humiliate myself because I'm making fun of myself. That's what it's all about. I've never been that type of person to embarrass somebody. It's not, I don't get that whole aspect. They think we only do it to people to make us look good. My whole intent is to make you, the people that come to comedy shows, is to have fun. I need everybody in the room just laugh. Some people could be going through so much stuff in their life. It's like, if I get on stage, man, I get, like I said, I get to take you away for 5 or 10 minutes, or ever how long I do jokes, just for you to forget what happened to you on that one day. I did my job. And after the show, people come up to me all the time and hug me, like they'll tell me what they went through, and they'll give me a hug and say thank you for that fun time. They follow me on my social media, they talk to me, they inbox me. But for me, I'm telling y'all this right now, I don't do it at anybody's expense. I don't. I know what it feels like to be picked on. I know what it feels like to be embarrassed. I know about all that. That's how I grew up. And I don't do this just because I'm trying to get back at everybody. Well, some people that I'm looking for. But I'm not doing this just for people to be humiliated. I'm not doing that. I'm doing it because it's a fun thing to go do. It's really fun.
You from Boston? Oh. Because if she was a Baltimore chick, they'd have been with that ass. They don't play. They be like, bitch! Baltimore women do not play. Everything you see in the fucking wire is real. What happened? Is that one too? That one too? All of them? God damn, she on the herm over here.
Somebody gotta make money.
How you making money?
Somebody gotta make it.
Damn, you don't even work either?
I ain't got to with all that. Look at that.
Y'all motherfuckers need Maury Povich back. Oh, man. But the point is that you can't script this shit, man. You can't. Even in Boston, they're fucking crazy. This is fucking awesome. What the fuck have I done wrong?
bottom line is the reason. Bottom line of why I do stand-up comedy is that comedy is really therapeutic for me. It helps me clear my mind. It helps me get away from everyday life. And the world is just, like I said, it's just sad. And so, I deal with a lot of things. We all deal with a lot of things. And I'm a stand-up comic, but a lot of you don't know is that I deal with depression. Depression is a thing nowadays that a lot of people don't talk about it. A lot of people don't talk about it. And a lot of people that go through it because they feel as though they don't have nobody to talk to. And it's not like that. All you got to do is talk to somebody. I don't care who it is. It's a relative, it's a friend. They have 1-800 numbers you can call and talk to people. And if you have insurance, you can still get a therapist and talk to them as well. You have a doctor. The doctor will recommend somebody. And the whole point of me when I was going through my depression is that I felt as though I was alone. I felt as though like I had nobody to talk to. I had nobody to turn to, and I just felt alone. And when you feel that type of feeling, it's like you just don't know what to do. You're like, okay, I can't talk to this person, I can't talk to that person, that person, without reaching out and say, hey, I'm having a problem. And that's the problem with a lot of people now. The people just don't say nothing. They wind up taking their lives before it's too late. And I was at that point at one time. I was. And I was thinking of places where I could do it. Like I didn't want people to find me. And it just came to that point, and I thought about it like, I didn't know whether or not it was God talking to me, and I think God was saying, hey, you need help. It ain't time for you to go yet. And so I opened up to some people, not everybody, but I did open up to people. And before I even got into the whole thing with battling depression, there was a lot of things that happened that contributed to me getting depression. In 2004, I lost my mother. She passed away due to a heart attack. And my mother was only like 51 years old. And when she died, it was like a part of me that was gone. And I'm not saying I didn't have a relationship with my father, because I did have a relationship with my father. My mother and father was together for 29 years before my mother passed. They had just recently, that same year, renewed their wedding vows. Me and my brother were the best men of my father. That's how, and it was a special time. It was a special time, and then not knowing later on, a couple of weeks or a couple of months later, I didn't know that day would change my life, because she had died and she was gone. And that whole time was like, I felt as though like I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. I didn't get a chance to say goodbye, and I always carried. And then what really got to me is, this is how everything started. I was working a full-time job, and every day I like on Tuesdays and Thursdays I had football practice. So every day I came home, my mother would sleep. She would sleep, so I didn't bother her, because I know she worked, as you didn't know. My mother, she was a cafeteria manager at one of the local schools here in Baltimore, and she worked for 21 years, almost 20 some years in the Baltimore City Public Schools. And like I said, she would sleep, she was tired, they would sleep. I understand that. Everybody go to sleep, because normally when I come home, she'd be watching TV and everything, so I normally sit, because how I have to get to my room, I have to pass her room, and she would normally be sitting there watching TV and everything. So, and the one time I didn't come home was a Friday, and that changed my life. It turned my world upside down. I didn't go home. I went to the movies with one of my friends, and I turned my cell phone off because I didn't want to disturb anybody with the cell phone. So I turned the cell phone off. So after the movie, I turned my cell phone back on, and then my uncle had left a message saying, hey, your mother fell out of the step. Come home quick. And I was nervous, so I'm thinking maybe she might have broke a leg or broken arm or something. She messed up something pretty bad. And I came home and I just seen all this like medical trash, like stuff they use from the ambulance with like so much stuff that was in the floor. There was a lamp in the floor, the light was still on, and I just didn't know what was going on. So I'm like, this is a lot of stuff for just a fall. And then so I sat there and I waited. I didn't know what hospital my father, everybody was at. I didn't know, so I couldn't go. And about 10:30, almost close to 10:30, my father called and said she passed. And there was nothing I could do, man. There was nothing I could do. My world was taken from me. And I still think about it every day. And I used to blame myself because I wasn't there. I wasn't there. And I carried that for a long time. And that was something dealing with my depression. And I can't say I don't miss it. I can't say that I don't miss it, but I do. I mean, it's nothing like you having your mother, man. It's not. I mean, your father's there. I mean, you love both of them regardless. But me and my mother had that relationship, we clicked. And don't get me wrong, my mother was hard on me growing up as a kid. I mean, we got beatings. We got whoopings. We didn't get that timeout stuff that your kids get now. We got whoopings. I mean, my mother didn't beat. My mother had a saying, she didn't beat anything she brought. Meaning you had to take your pants down and she would literally beat you with a belt. Now, some of y'all might cry child abuse, but my mother ain't kid. She wanted you to come in the house. You came in the house talking that stuff. She was going to punch you in the face until you go home. Because she ain't kid what you thought. She was disciplining her kids. And you know what? To this day, I thank her for that. I don't look bad back at her because I've never been locked up. I've never been in nobody's jail. Never had any run-ins with the police. Only if you count speeding on the highway. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I've been as far as with the police. But never been locked up. Never hung with the wrong crowd because of what she did. She showed us love, and that was the way of showing us love. And like I said, I've never, ever been in anybody's jail. Now, how many, I hate to put it out there like this, but how many black men you can know that can actually say that they've never been locked up? It's only a few percentage of us. It's only a few percentage of us that can actually say that. And like I said, I thank her for those rough times. I mean, I can blame myself for a lot of stuff I did, which was stupid when I was a kid. But it was rough. But I can blame myself for having those beatings. I just can't blame it on her. But so later down in the years, I had to tend to my father. My father, he was missing his mother. He was missing his wife. I understand that. They've been together 29 years, never separated. None of that. I mean, they had a couple of run-ins when I was a kid, and for the first time, I had seen my father cry because my mother was in the process of leaving him because due to his drinking. He had a drinking problem, and my mother just didn't like it. That was the first time. I was young. I didn't know what was going on. My mother told me was that pack your stuff, we leaving, and I didn't know why. Until I seen my father said, don't leave me, I need you. And, that was the first time I seen him cry. And I didn't understand where it was coming from. Now that I'm older, I knew where it was coming from. And so from that time on, like I said, I took care of my father. You know, he got sick after my mother passed, and you know, he lost his job due to him getting sick, and he just developed into something that wasn't, I wouldn't say it was traumatic, but it's like you kind of knew where it was coming from, because back in the day, like I said, my father had a drinking problem, and he smoked a lot of cigarettes. So during that course of that time, my father had COPD. COPD is when, I'll explain it. Well, my father had, you know, the heart has 4 chambers, my father only had 2 of those chambers that worked. The other half of the heart didn't work. So it was he couldn't push fluid through like he was supposed to. So after that, he became real sick, and he was in and out of the hospitals, and you know, he had to go to the rehab facilities. He never did surgery, and then his liver got bad, and you can see him just going. And around that time, around 2018, my father passed, and he was gone.
Got my father in the house tonight, my dad's in the house tonight. Give a round of applause. I got that father was cheap, man. My father was cheap as hell. He was cheap. Yeah, you was, motherfucker. You was cheap. My father used to do shit based on religion, yo. It was real funny, because he'd be like, me and my brother come down there, and he'd be like, hey, Dad, ain't no Christmas presents under the tree. He said, oh, we Jehovah's Witness. I said, Dad, ain't no meat in the refrigerator. He said, oh, we Muslim today.
So I went through a lot, man. I did. I went through a lot, and I just kept thinking, man, it's got to get better. It only can make me stronger. And, you know, I try to keep that same attitude, but sometimes life will kick you in the ass. It will. It will kick you straight there, and it's like you got to rebound every time that you go through it. If you don't, then it's going to take you into a deep spot that you don't want to go. I mean, myself, I had spent some time in the hospital. I had double pneumonia. I was in the hospital. Both lungs were filled up full of fluid, and I just didn't know what was going on. And I had walked around with it so long, I'm thinking it was just a cold or something like that, but I was going to work, I would feel chills, I would feel dizziness, and I still didn't know what it was. So the one time when I got sick, and I was diagnosed as having pneumonia, I was getting ready, and at the time my girlfriend at work, she worked from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., so she got off in the morning. So she told me the day before, if I didn't feel any better, we was gonna go to the hospital. So, that morning I got up, I got in the shower, and then I got real dizzy, and I fell out the shower, and I hit my head on the door, and I could hear her banging at the door because we had the chain on the door, so I had to try to get up, but by me hitting my head on that door, it like rattled me a little bit, so I'm sitting there trying to get up and get to the door, and it was so bad that the ambulance had to come get me and take me to the hospital, because I couldn't walk or anything, because I was still traumatized by me hitting my head. I was, and went to the hospital, and they admitted me right away and told me I had double pneumonia. So from there I was in the hospital for like 2 weeks. Outside of my window was a brick wall. That's all I had to look at, was a brick wall on the top of the roof of the hospital. So just imagine somebody that can't, my pneumonia was so bad that I couldn't walk from my front door of my room to the upper side of the hallway to the wall. And that's only 5 steps. And at that point, I thought I was dying, because I didn't know what it was. I felt that bad. It's almost like having COVID, but I didn't know I had COVID. But that's how I felt. I don't know how it felt to have COVID, because I never had it, but if it felt anything like having double pneumonia, then I thought I was gone for sure. I even told my father, I said, hey, you might as well make funeral arrangements, because I'm not sure I'm gonna make it. That's how bad it was. So the more, the days I was standing there, and I got better and better until I got discharged. Like, mind you, I went in there probably around, I want to say, November, maybe I went there about, beginning of November. And then I got out probably around like a little bit the end of November, so I missed Thanksgiving. I missed everything as far as the holidays, as far as, the month of November. Then I got out and I finally went back to work in December. Had to use the oxygen tank. Never had to use the oxygen tank ever, but my lungs were so battered down that I had to build them back up. I had to do the breathing tube, everything, and practice on my breathing. And then I finally got back to where I needed to be, where I didn't have to use the oxygen anymore. And it was a trying time because I thought I was actually gone. I thought I was gonna not make it. It felt that bad, and it's just like I said, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. And it was scary. It was scary. I'm like, it was real. I mean, they had me in ICU for like 2 days. And it was just like, man, I kept thinking to myself the whole time I was there, it's like, is this it? Is this the final curtain call? Is this it for me? And by the grace of God, I wound up beating it. And I got better and better, and like I said, I had to go to therapy to rebuild my lungs and everything, which I understand that's the process. But I just felt as though when I was in there, I just said, I don't think I'm gonna make it. It's like I kind of gave up on myself, and like I was gonna let everything just flow with it and let nature take its course. But apparently it wasn't my time. So I'm here now, and this is what I'm doing. So it's kind of like I'm owing God for bringing me through that. So this is what I do. Now, having to make people feel better and doing comedy and everything, making people laugh and everything, but I feel as though like I'm owed it, because like I said, I thought I was a goner. I thought I was done, but it seemed like I got a second chance.
Hold on, before I go, hold on. I just want to say, man, I've been doing comedy for 7 years straight, man. I've been on the road. I've been opening up for Paul Mooney and all kinds of people, man. This is really special to me to do my first comedy album, and I'm glad all y'all been a part of it, man. I really had fun. I kind of wish, tonight, I wish my mother was here to see me. I really do. And my grandmother and all my other people I lost before, but the name of my album is called Can You See Me? And I'm sure
See, most people, they seem to think that my depression comes from my weight. And I'm here to tell you that my weight is about 5% of my problem. You know where most of my weight comes from? Most of my weight comes from how hard it is to just be a black man. A black man in America. Also, my weight comes from just being a man in general, because we go through so much than what anybody else goes for. And I can't speak for everybody else, but I know what everything comes from me. I know what happens to me in my life. I can't speak for nobody's life but mine. God gave me this life, and it's the only thing I could actually talk about is my life. I don't know what's going on in everybody else's. And we all deal with it in a different way, a different light. But most of the people seem to think, my battle with depression comes from just me being a big guy. And then, like I said, that's the easiest part. It's just, I went through so much, and most people would like look at it and be like, well, we all go through that. We all did that. No, it's different with me. I had to go through, when I got injured playing football, I had the worst knee injury that a football player can get. And we talk about MCL, PCL, and ACL. That's 3 of your main things that keep your knee attached to your bone, to everything to make it work. And so when I asked the doctor, I said, well, Doc, I said, is it a possible chance that I can come back and play if I heal up and get right with the therapy and everything? You know what the doctor told me? He said, most football players don't. And I lost, and I lost it. I literally cried in that doctor's office because football was my dream. Was like, since I was a kid, I've always wanted to play in the NFL. I always wanted to do that. That was my main dream. I wasn't even thinking about nothing else. Even when I was in high school, I didn't have time for girls, none of that. I was playing sports, I was going to class, and I was working. I was working a job too. So I was doing all that. I wasn't even worried about women, anything. And people would say, oh, you don't like women. No, I had a dream, and I was stuck on that dream. And that dream was kind of derailed with the knee injury. And so just imagine you out, you can't go to work, you can't do nothing. Just imagine how you would feel if you were stuck in your room for a whole month. And mind you, by me being a football player, we so used to working out and getting in shape and doing all that kind of stuff. So all that stuff I was doing beforehand. But just imagine when it's all taken away from you, that you can't do anything because of your leg. You can't move, you can't do nothing. So me sitting in the room for a month, that's all I did was eat, sleep, and watch TV. That's all I did. I couldn't go nowhere else. Now mind you, when you do that, yes, you gain weight because you can't do anything. So that's where most of my weight comes from. That's where it came from. And when it got worse and worse, or it got more on me, and I worked to getting it off me, and I'm still working to get it off me. But it just got to the point like, why? Like, why? You just don't have no answers for it, but you just got to do it. So a lot of people, we just, as a black man and a black comic, especially a black man, we deal with so much in this country that it's not even funny. We got to worry about the police. We got to worry about everybody's perception about us. And like I say, all of us are not like that. All of us are not like that. And black comedians, I felt as though from watching George Carlin and all them back in the day, they could say what they want, but most of us couldn't say what we want because of the simple fact of our color of our skin. And that's crazy. If America says freedom for speech, it doesn't just say for white people. It says for all. It means you can say what you want, but does it have its limitations? No, it says freedom of speech, and that's what we do. But I can say a little bit, times have changed a little bit, but it's still some sensitive people in the world. It is, and some people just can't take it. But you're not gonna censor me because I'm gonna say what I want to say, and you either deal with it or you don't deal with it. You either like me or you don't like me. That's it.
My boy Jared, he's lonely. How you doing, Jared? You with her? She looked at him like shit. That's your boyfriend right there?
Hell no.
What you a spokesperson? You a spokesperson?
No.
Then what you say hell no for?
It ain't her man.
That's your daughter?
No.
Do you know her?
No, it's my woman.
Oh! Okay! Boy, they had taken over fucking Maryland, ain't they? Lesbians are turning them out more than the fucking military, ain't they? God damn.
Damn.
That's really your woman?
Damn right.
Damn. Boy, you better never come home late. She like, bitch, what time I tell you to be home? Next time you come in late, I'm gonna take your fucking eyeliner. Oh my God. And she didn't say nothing, though. She was like, yeah, goddamn right.
Hello, this is comedian CJ Burney, born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. And I know you're asking what does the C stand for, what the J stands for. Well, the C stands for Clarence. I sound like an old Mississippi Baptist preacher. So my first name is Clarence. My middle name is Jermaine, so that's where you get the CJ from. I was born to Deborah and Clarence Burney. My birthday, I'm born in July, at the day after the 4th of July. I had one brother, and that's it, I guess. So, I guess now I guess you know by now I'm stuttering, but I guess you know my whole story and why I tell you that I'm worth the wait. And not by physical, it's all about mental. We go through a lot in this world, and I just thought I would share my story with you guys. Maybe this story can help somebody out there. But like I said, if you're going through something in your life, just talk to somebody, get some help. Don't sit there and think you can tackle it by yourself, because you can't. Trust me, the road gets very difficult at doing that whole time. So get some help, talk to somebody, man. And as far as me being a stand-up comic, I'm in this for the long haul, man. And I don't know, a lot of you guys have probably heard this, but doing stand-up comedy is like, it's not like a sprint. It's a marathon. And we go a long way. We ain't stopping. But you won't see me running in no marathon. So I'm just saying. But I'm glad, and I hope you guys enjoyed this story. You can hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, all that. I'm on everything. Plenty of Fish, everything. I'm on all that. But that's dating site that most of y'all didn't know. But like I said, I'm in it for the long run, man, and I hope that you guys enjoy my story. Like I said, I hope it inspires somebody to do something about their mental illness. And y'all don't worry. You ever finished seeing this fat face for a long time, because I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna get on your nerves the whole time. Just get ready, get used to it. All right? So y'all take it easy now. And y'all get out now. Bye. See you. Get out.
What's going on? How y'all feeling? It's good. All right, let me move this mic stand so all y'all can see me. I don't want that in the way. Went to vacation, folks. Went to Orlando, Florida. Anybody been to Orlando, Florida? Went to SeaWorld, man. Went down there and got this thing where you can actually play with the dolphins, get in the water and everything. And they also got this little thing you can actually like ride a dolphin. Let's just say I had a bad experience, y'all. I didn't know you could drown a dolphin. I didn't. You know, all I did was ride the thing, man. I didn't expect it to drown. And you know, word must have got around when I got back to Baltimore, went to the National Aquarium. I went to the dolphin tank, they all turned their back on me. I said, what the hell? That's just nuts, man. And and everybody have that thing about fat people. Y'all really do. Where my fat people at? Fat people? Where y'all at? I'm the only one? Y'all do, man. But see, I like to do crazy things. I like to go to a gym and go home and get my personal trainer shirt on and stand over people while they lifting weights. You know what? You can look like me. You know, it's crazy, man. Starting to find out things, you know, fat people. Another thing fat people can't do, we can't be stalkers. We can't. The characteristic of a stalker, you gotta be able to hide somewhere. Am I lying? Like, ladies, could you imagine this? About 12 midnight outside of your house or your apartment, standing behind a bush. Well, I don't think she can see me. And meanwhile, she on the phone with her girlfriend talking about, girl, he trying to hide behind a branch. Get your big self up, I'm gonna call the police. I don't know, I'm trying to lose weight, man, I am, you know? Because things are getting real crazy around my household, man. I can't have my girlfriend grabbing my boobs during sex. I can't, you know? She's like, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Like, get off of me, man. It's just like nuts to me. Another crazy situation, I had one of those opportunities to go to one of those couple sex toy parties. Anybody been to a couple sex toy party? Bunch of freaks, look at them. It's weird, man, because they got so much weird stuff at that place, man. They got things like the size of rocket launchers, man. It's just amazing. You know, I found out about the Chubby G, you know, the bunny rabbit and the silver bullet. You know, my girlfriend fell asleep with that thing in her. I thought she was having a seizure. She was... I'm like, take it out, what's going on? What's going on? And I know she had brought some of them Crocs as underwear, man. It scared the hell out of me, man. I know, I'm sitting there watching the football game and everything. She come out there with them on. She would say, do you want some of this, CJ? Do you want some of this? I said, hell no. Look what that did to your underwear. You getting everything on my couch. That's not good. That's not good. And ladies, stop thinking all men are superheroes. Just stop it. My girlfriend asked me one time, she said, would you ever take a step in front of a bullet for me? I said, hell no. I said, because if I got time to step in the way, you got time to get out the way. Hey, y'all, that's my time. Thanks a lot, CJ.
I hope you get a good likeness.
Oh, I'm great. I put a video on YouTube. I don't YouTube on Facebook. It's an app that lets you like destroy stuff. It's a part of this. You'll see it on there. I tagged you in it. With like CJ Burney's blowing up Sully's, and the whole room like nuclear explodes and smokes everywhere. The end.
That crowd was awesome, man. They came out to support you. They showed
Yeah,
up.
that's why I said it was kind of heartfelt because it was like, damn, some of these people didn't even know me. And they brought tickets and they came out. And
It's good to give it up like that too, man. Show your emotion.
I was impressed. I was like, look at them standing up on their own. Nobody told them to stand up and clap.
Yeah, man.
And then I thought, so they crying?
yo, when you
Stop motherfucking crying.
You know what I'm saying? When you get caught up in the emotion from that type of shit, you know how it is. Like you get that support, that shit overwhelms you. Like you be the toughest nigga. You be like, I ain't gonna cry.
That's good for your soul, man. That's good for your soul when people support you. Like that.
I mean, that's why I
you're in the right
said.
direction.
That's why I said it touched me because half of them people I didn't even know, except for the people they said they seen me when me and you was up there. That was like years ago.
But even that, they saw you and said, I want to come back. So
Yeah, and like either other people was like, yo, we gonna come back regardless. So when you hit, we gonna come back and support you.
I appreciate you for having me too.
And not even the fact that my football team, my parents was on the football team that came. A lot of my friends, none of my family was here. My dad couldn't come because he's sick, so he can't get out the house. He can't climb those steps because he got congestive heart failure. So with everybody that came out, and like it kind of threw me for a loop because I thought Lonnie was gonna host. So when I said, well, I gotta get somebody to host it, but you did your shit.
Yeah,
That's why I said,
yeah,
I said Marcus can host. So let me ask Marcus, put him in the spot, and people loved you. So it's like Jay went up there and killed. Tiana even killed.
Yeah.
So it's like you take it like that with like we didn't have to add no superstar just to make the show hot because everybody liked it. So I'm just saying it was a real good film. I mean, I kind of got threw off by that lady because they kept talking fucking dumb. So like it threw me off my circle because there was some jokes I ain't even.
I was trying to work on it for you, man.
It was a couple of jokes I ain't even get out. I had wrote some new stuff, and I was like, okay, so let's just. I mean, just the crowd participation was the shit.
Yeah.
Like it was that got more.
They were here.
and I was saying they were involved and
here,
you got
man.
it, you caught it live.
Yeah, so it was like you can't make this up. This is happening right now.
This is in the moment.
So I mean, now everybody went home. They had a good time. I mean, ain't nobody say, "Oh, he sucked." Everybody, that's what I'm saying. Everybody was it. Us four did our thing,
And that's what it is. That's why I said I kept messing with myself like, yo, who the fuck can I get? And I thought I kept thinking, because like, some of the people won't work here because of Magoobies, because they work with Magoobies. So I said, I can't just call anybody. So I said, let me see what Marcus, man. I came across it now, like, Marcus, what you do?
And that's funny, I think about that every time I come here, and I'm like, screw y'all. I'm not, like, I mean, you want me, I go over there too. That's y'all beef. But, yeah, this is definitely a good show. I was, midway through the show, I was like, man, I could have been sitting on my couch not doing nothing.
I've been watching the first 48.
Yeah, Pork and Beans.
And it was like, it was crazy, because like, I'm gonna tell you, when I got up on that stage and they was all standing up and they was cheering and everything, it kind of touched me right then and there. I'm like, okay, pull it back, son, pull it back. You got jokes to do.
Yeah, you can't start off, man.
It's like, I don't want to start off crying like we a little bitch. I'm like, okay. But I'm just saying that when they, and at the end, when I meant, all that stuff I said at the end was all from the heart. And it was like, nigga, because, you know, we done shows together. We done came so, me and Jay done shows together. We done come so far.
To be in a place with comedy written on the wall.
Yeah, we didn't.
There's been too many places where.
Shit, we did fucking bar shows.
Yeah, you had a bar with somebody yelling.
10 people in that bitch.
Right, exactly.
So it was, that's why I said it was good that all of us. But it wasn't a doubt. I said, yo, they gonna suck. Somebody gonna suck on the show. I'm like, no, everybody was it.
Yeah.
So ain't like we had an open mic on there that did like 5 minutes, but he sucked. Well, nobody, it wasn't quiet. The only time it was quiet when they was listening to the premise of the joke and then the punchline. They're like, bang, bang.
And even that, they were paying attention. They were listening for it. Like, we here to laugh. And we laughed.
Yeah.
Even when you even when you did that joke about the river and the house across the river, they bust out laughing. So shit, it was good. So that's why I say it's cool. So now a lot of us are getting our. I always said, if I get there first, I'm gonna find that, because they said we're gonna put a tour together. I can find that set group. I can call you. I can call him. Like, yo, I'm gonna give you a spot. We're gonna go out here and show the world what we can do. And that's what I'm saying. This right here. We showed people that didn't even know who we was.
Yeah, y'all proved it.
Yeah, we wasn't. You ain't see Earthquake on that stage. You ain't see Saturday Entertainment. You ain't see nobody.
There was no name recognition people. Yeah. We got to put names in there, you know?
And you know what? And it's funny because like the DMV, from Virginia all the way up to Philly, like this whole area is so full with comedians. Like like it's just better than New York and LA, because there's so many down the whole coast that is so good. It's like every city is good comedy.
But also, I was telling somebody that with our area, and I could be wrong, but when I look at like New York and LA, a lot of the comedians there only have 7 minutes, 9 minutes, because that's all they getting a chance to do. Whereas you figure somebody who, is not the name recognition, just went up and did 45 minutes to an hour, and had the opportunity to do it. Like you were thanking Sully's for giving you the chance, and that's real.
Chance, man. Like I've done some shows in the past where like you have a headliner in the room, say no names, and
take the mic off.
They see you and they be like, well, I don't know who this cat is. He might blow me out the water, so he ain't going on. Seen it happen to me several times.
They ain't never heard you.
Yeah, and I'll be like, really? I'll be over in the corner like, come on, just let me get a little taste, you know.
And the one thing about it is funny.
Help you out.
Yeah.
The one thing that's funny about it that the fact that a lot of people, just because they don't know you, they think you suck. And it's like, it ain't even true. Like, so you get up stage and you're like, wow, that dude was really funny.